decide someone's whole life, yeah. Yeah, I'm pro-God and I'm pro-life, and I'm pro-guns, and you know that I am pro-life. I'm pro-life, yeah. Yeah, I'm pro-life. Pro-life, yeah. Yeah, I'm pro-life, yeah. Who are you to decide someone's whole life? Yeah, I'm pro-God, pro-guns, and I'm pro-life.
I'm pro-life, pro-life, I'm pro-life. I told you about 1,000,000 times. Why you gotta take those kids? Why you gotta end them before they begin? Don't you know that your little baby has soul? Every abortion is letting them go. There goes my baby, there goes my heart and my soul. There goes the future, we letting you go. We just cannot see the vision. Mama cannot see why you should keep living. She just going through life, perfectly okay with letting you die. She just painting her nails and saying, oh well, if all else fails, we'll send her to hell. Yeah, I know that this sounds very gruesome. Yeah, I know you tear up when we lose them. People are selfish and people are wicked, not understanding the cost of decisions. If you wanna play the most dangerous game, then gamble with your life like binary vision. That's the way of reproduction, now give it a deconstruction. One cell becomes 2, then 4, then 8, and before you know the baby's got a beating heart to break. Then a couple months and now the little baby got a brain. So tell me how that is your body when the baby can feel pain, or tell me how that is your body when the baby's listening. So excited to see the world, just a little baby girl, so let her have your whole life. I know it's worth sacrificing.
Yeah, I'm pro-God and I'm pro-life, and I'm pro-guns, and you know that I am pro-life. I'm pro-life, yeah. Yeah, I'm pro-life.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages from all across the world. Welcome back to another episode of Crump Live with yours truly, Chandler Crump. We are live here on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, I think a few other places, and we're going to have some big things to talk about tonight as per usual. But first things first, I gotta say, how is everybody doing? How y'all doing? I hope you guys all had a great weekend. It is now November 1st, 2022. It is Tuesday at 8:03 p.m. You guys know we go live here on YouTube and Rumble and all these platforms every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we're here once again holding to that schedule, trying our very darn best. And, well, welcome to the whole new month of November, folks. Spooky season is over. October's gone. No more worries about All Hallows Eve or Dia de los Muertos, wherever you are, whatever holiday was celebrated yesterday. It's gone. It's over. It is now a new season. It is now a new month, and I'm so very excited because I say a new season because this is when basically the Christmas season starts for a lot of people. This is like November 1st. They could care less about Thanksgiving, sadly. It's all the way to Christmas. People like Mariah Carey, who make the Christmas music, are already posting about how they're melting and getting ready to take over with the Christmas vibes once again. And well, you can make of that what you will, Mariah Carey and them, but obviously that doesn't mean that the news and all the major things in the culture are suddenly not happening anymore. In fact, it's getting crazier. It's getting crazier. So shout out to the people we have watching us on all of our platforms, Helicon over on Rumble, and our folks here on YouTube. But without much further ado, we're going to jump in to some new subjects. This one, oh man, to kick off the show, it's official. You can stop the countdown now. If you've been running a countdown since the beginning of the pandemic, up to when you would expect people to start being like, okay, don't blame us when things went wrong, we'll stop it now. Because they are now putting out an article, they being The Atlantic, saying, let's declare a pandemic amnesty. The subtitle of that is, we need to forgive one another for what we did and said when we were in the dark about COVID-19. Just it's truly laughable. You just gotta sit back and be like, well, here we go. We expected it to happen, and it truly did happen. And before we even read the article, I just want to play a couple videos and examples of things that they may be talking about that they aren't so proud of what they did during the pandemic. Let's take a watch, shall we?
No, 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 no,
Oh boy. It's just a rotating list of all the people. We got Cuomo. We got I think this is this Whitmer? This is either Gretchen. I think this is Gretchen Whitmer right there. And then Newsom. I don't even know who this one is. Good old Fauci ouchie. That's the guy for the that's the World Health Organization guy. All the people who are lining up to give you all the great, important science and information you need. Let's keep going, though, because let's see how these people and their decisions actually impacted the children.
Put the mask on. No, you gotta wear it on, honey.
No, you gotta keep it on.
Put your mask on.
There you go. Keep it right there.
Yay, Mason! Yay!
Keep it on, Mason. Look, we're gonna keep it right here. Nope.
Every time I see that video, it's impossible. It is really so very difficult to watch, and it creates a certain level of anger within my soul. And look at the comment. It says, this is my poor kid at daycare today so I can work. Hashtag breaks my heart. Hashtag Governor Hochul, this W something. So this might even be in New York, and they say this is my poor kid, so this might be the actual person. Now, I don't know if this is actually the mother or parent recording this or not. If not, both outcomes are pretty bad, because if it isn't, then imagine some random freak stranger recording this and be like, put the mask on, and if it is the mother, well then, I don't know what you're going on with, but seriously, either outcome, there's no good way for this to be painted, truly. And this goes on for a while, too. I don't want to watch it anymore. Oh my God, man. He's struggling. He's fighting for his breath, fighting for the air that we're supposed to breathe. And of course, people are going to be like, well, yeah, you can breathe through a mask. And yes, you can, but you have to try. That's something that this kid up to this point probably hadn't really had to struggle to deal with. A cloth mask blocking his airways. Hey, man, make of it what you will, but imagine yourself in this kid's shoes. Could you really handle this? And I don't remember when this is from. This is from the middle of the whole COVID scheme. And they want amnesty. There's more. I could go on. We'll watch this one in a minute, but let's read a bit of the article first and see just what they are admitting to themselves that they did. In April 2020, with nothing else to do, my family took an enormous number of hikes. We all wore cloth masks that I had made myself. We had a family hand signal, which the person in the front would use if someone was approaching on the trail, and we needed to put on our masks. Once, when another child got too close to my then 4-year-old on a bridge, he yelled at her, "Social distancing! Social distancing!" These precautions were totally misguided. In April 2020, no one got the coronavirus from passing someone else hiking. Outdoor transmission was vanishingly rare. Our cloth masks made out of old bandanas wouldn't have done anything anyway. But the thing is, we didn't know.
Stop the cap!
I can go back to the very beginning, when I and many other people who did just even the tiniest curmudgeon, and that's not the right word there, the tiniest smidgen, there you go, that's a bit better, of research about this entire thing and said, all right, listen, we want to be safe from viruses, sure. Back then we were all like, okay, COVID might be a serious thing, especially since it's knowing it's coming from China. I think we all agreed it was something to at least take a little bit seriously. But we also, a good amount of us, and not every single conservative, not every single liberal either, but a good amount of people who I'd say thought with a bit more common sense and had at least a little bit of scientific knowledge before the human personification of science that is Dr. Fauci got his head out of his behind and started saying one consistent message. But we all back then, and once again by all I'm talking about that specific group, were saying, listen, the masks and stuff might not be the worst idea, but we're talking about the N95 ones, the ones that are specifically designed for viruses or bacteria and are worn during surgical settings. And even those might not be it. But simple cloth masks are not going to do the job. I remember there was a number being thrown around way back when about how small the COVID-19 virus was, something microns. Very, very tiny. Very tiny. So cloth masks made out of old bandanas wouldn't have done anything anyway. We knew that back then. But of course he or she I should say, we didn't know. I have been reflecting on this lack of knowledge thanks to a class I'm co-teaching at Brown University on COVID. I could have taught this class, man, seriously. We've spent several lectures reliving the first year of the pandemic, discussing the many important choices we had to make under conditions of tremendous uncertainty. Some of these choices turned out better than others. To take an example close to my own work, there is an emerging consensus that schools in the US were closed for too long. It's like they're coming back and saying, all right, listen, everybody that was saying we need to reopen, everybody's saying that 2 weeks to stop the spread and nothing more was all we needed, if even that. Those that were saying the lockdowns were misguided, you were right. You were right. And we know we want no repercussions for our actions, obviously. None for our thoughts. Another example. When the vaccines came out, we lacked definitive data on the relative efficacies of the Johnson & Johnson shot versus the mRNA options from Pfizer and Moderna. The mRNA vaccines have won out, but at that time, many people in public health were either neutral or expressed a J&J preference. This misstep wasn't nefarious, it was the result of uncertainty. Obviously, some people intended to mislead and made wildly irresponsible claims. Remember when the public health community had to spend a lot of time and resources urging Americans not to inject themselves with bleach? That was bad. Misinformation was and remains a huge problem. But most errors were made by people who are working in earnest for the good of society. In earnest for the good of society is what they want to tell us. Let's take another look at those that were in the earnest search of the good for society we're doing in 2020.
Bashir issued an executive order against mass gatherings, including churches, as a way to stop the spread of COVID-19. Pastor Roberts says it's his right not to follow it.
If today was my last day, I couldn't say that I've got any regrets.
State troopers were taking down license plate numbers and placing notices on the cars of those who attended. They will soon get an order to self-quarantine for 2 weeks.
I took a picture of my license plate on the back of my car and sent it to the governor yesterday.
Around 50 people showed up to worship. Pastor Roberts says out of all who showed up today, about 1/3 of them were new faces, including 2 ladies who drove all the way from New Jersey to be here.
We really wanted to gather for Easter. I have never not went to church for Easter, and I refuse to do it, even with this situation going on. My Lord is more important.
Bashir issued...
Truly a beautiful thing to see how many people come out to praise regardless of what the government says, but scary that the government decided it was within their purview to get out there in the first place and go up to cars and knock on windows, check license plates, and leave notices demanding that after going to church, you self-quarantine, self-isolate for 2 weeks. Because obviously it's 2 weeks to stop the spread. Everybody knows it's 2 weeks to stop the spread. You can't even decline. You can't even say anything other than that's the truth. Because keep in mind, they were out there back then censoring people. I wonder when I got my very first medical misinformation strike. I assume it was sometime in 2020. I could go back and look, but I don't even want to deal with it. I was amongst many that received heavy censorship due to COVID-19. In fact, I know many friends personally on Twitter that received a little, this tweet cannot be shared due to a violation of our medical misinformation policy. In fact, I think the phrase medical misinformation should have been the phrase of the year in 2020. Let's just look up the phrase medical misinformation, and look how crazy it took power in the days from 2020. In fact, you know what I want to do? I want to do the Google Trends thing. That tells you how much a phrase is looked up in a given period of time. We're going to look up the phrase medical misinformation, all right? Which is a phrase that couldn't be made up in 2020. It's a phrase that existed for a while. Misinformation. We're going to look it up right now. Once I learn how to spell it right. There you go. Medical misinformation. Let's just look it up and see how much, not in the past 12 months, but in the past 5 years. There you go. And you can see that there's a good bit of it searching. Let's see if I can tighten this up, because the phrase, oh, did I spell it wrong? Medical misinformation. This is not what the chart should look like. I think it's only basing it out of one place. When you look at COVID or vaccine. So if you go by a topic, you could see there's vaccine. So vaccine took a lot of strength come 2020 and then heavily early 2021 when these were rolled out. But that's weird. The phrase medical misinformation does not appear. I might be searching it wrong. I don't use this thing often, but if it was accurate, it would probably match a bit similar to the actual COVID vaccine phrase, probably kind of more sprouting in the midst here, because that is when everybody started getting medical misinformation strikes and getting kicked off of Twitter for medical misinformation, all of the above. That was something they pushed heavily. But of course, now we have to go back and say, well, we need to give amnesty to the social media platforms that censored, to the Dr. Fauci's that were making $400,000 plus a year from the government and tax dollars that were then flipping the script the next day and saying, oh no, you actually have to do this and not this. And every other person that was involved, whether it goes from the cops that were walking by churches saying you need to self-isolate, or the teachers at the preschools forcing masks on your children, meanwhile all you want to do is go and work. Blocking their airways for something that doesn't even work. I mean, we want to give these people the go-ahead to go scot-free. Given the amount of uncertainty, almost every position was taken on every topic, and on every topic, someone was eventually proved right and someone was wrong. In some instances, the right people were right for the wrong reasons. In other instances, they had a prescient understanding of the available information. The people who got it right for whatever reason may want to gloat. Those who got it wrong for whatever reason may feel defensive and retrench into a position that doesn't accord with the facts. All of this gloating and defensiveness continues to gobble up a lot of social energy and to drive the culture wars, especially on the internet. These discussions are heated, unpleasant, and ultimately unproductive in the face of so much uncertainty. Getting something right had a hefty element of luck, and similarly, getting something wrong wasn't a moral failing. Treating pandemic choices as a scorecard on which some people racked up more points than others is preventing us from moving forward, which isn't entirely wrong. But let's take another look in the pandemic. Let's see if I can even find it here. Vaccine gloating. You see, because there was something that happened, and it was pretty disgusting. And there you go. Is it this one? Here, I'm gonna look up vaccine and ghoulish, because there's one specific article that I want you guys to see. Here it is. Mocking anti-vaxxers' COVID deaths is ghoulish, yes, but may be necessary. Now, I understand where this article is coming from, but you're on the same side as these people saying anti-vaxxers this and anti-maskers that. And though you've already been proven wrong with the mask thing, you won't back down on the anti-vaxxers wrong, haha, they're so excited they're gonna die. May be necessary, is what they say. So I'm sure in a few months they'll be like, maybe a couple years, let's declare a vaccine amnesty. Who wants to throw a bet on that? Throw a couple dollars? I'll throw billions. I'll throw billions of dollars on that one right there. Because, and I don't care about being right or wrong for the sake of gloating. I care about being right or wrong for the sake of life. Truly. I don't know, guys.
I'm just being honest.
I'm just trying my very, very best to be honest, but it seems more and more as we try to be honest, we face repercussions for that. I'm going to divvy off track for a little bit and go on to something that I think is very, very important, and that is free speech in general. Now, these people are declaring a pandemic amnesty, but really what they say is we want free speech. We want to be completely free of the consequences of our actions and our words. And that isn't necessarily what free speech is, but these people want a piece of that. And they want the ability to keep saying what they want to say whenever they say it, and also had no responsibility. Now, free speech isn't no responsibility for what you say or your actions, but it is defending your ability to say it. These people want it, and you know what? They will get it. They didn't get misinformation strikes when their information turned out to also be misinformation, but we did. As you can see right now in Brazil with their presidential election, YouTube in Brazil is now cracking down. They say, with the presidential election results validated by the TSE, which I assume is some sort of governmental election agency, we are updating our electoral integrity policy and will begin to remove content that violates our policy. Learn more at this website. They are cracking down just like YouTube did here in America. Now, the presidential election in Brazil is just as heavily disputed as it was in America, and they're facing similar protests. A lot of people like Jair Bolsonaro, and some people dislike Lulu, who's the guy that was elected. Now, I'm going to be careful in what I say, but I think it's even more telling when you take a look at the other side. Now, obviously, as you guys know, right now, we've been streaming on Rumble for years. We're streaming on Rumble live right now. If you have a Rumble account, check us out. I'm going to have something to say about that in a minute. But even Rumble is facing some backlash. Recently, the French government demanded that we remove certain Russian news sources from Rumble. As part of our mission to restore a free and open internet, we have committed not to move the goalposts on our content policies. Users with unpopular views are free to access our platform on the same terms as are millions of others. Accordingly, we have decided to disable access to Rumble for users in France while we challenge the legality of their demands. This decision will not have a material effect on our business as France represents less than 1% of our users. The French people, however, will lose access to a wide range of Rumble content because of these government demands. We hope the French government reconsiders its decision so we can restore access soon. These governments are going to crack down on your right for free speech. Now, the reason that Rumble is discontinuing operation is because they refuse to move their goalposts, but also because they have a small user footprint there. But if something similar happens in America, we need to put forward a united front. And the best way you can do that is by joining Rumble today. Now, I said I had a special announcement to make, and that announcement is that for the foreseeable future, a good amount of my live streams, as you guys know, are exclusively backed up on Rumble, but they will actually end early on YouTube, and the remainder of my stream with the remainder of our subjects will be exclusive to Rumble. So right now, if you're watching me on YouTube, I need to encourage you guys to move over and watch us here on Rumble. Now, I've dropped the link and pinned it in chat, but I'm going to drop it one more time. It's also in the description. I want and need all of you guys. You don't need to make an account or anything to watch, but if you want to participate in the chat, you can do so by going over to our Rumble page. I dropped the link in the description right there. As you guys know, talking about these things that I talk about here on YouTube it's a losing game. It's a losing battle. They're going to take you down. I've already surrendered a good amount of land, surrendered a good amount of that battle because I take down most of my streams after they happen here on YouTube. But in order to continue being here on YouTube in some capacity, we have to continue this transition to Rumble. We have to encourage that strength of Rumble to become an even stronger competitor to YouTube if we ever want a future for YouTube being more free speech. The reason why a platform like Twitter was able to be gobbled up by Elon is because alt-tech platforms prove that there is a thirst and a hunger for free speech larger than that of their thirst for an acceptable environment, like Tribal, or like Twitter previously was. Tribal is the new alt-tech social for liberals that they ban everybody, and Twitter previously was a lot like that. So the reason why we do this is so that we can have a better future for free speech. So we are going to be ending the live stream here on YouTube. If you're watching this afterwards, I'll leave the replay up until we're done with our live stream on Rumble. But if you're watching this and you notice this isn't live and you want to catch us while we're still live or even catch the replay, check the description and go to our Rumble page. It's the top link in the description, or just go to rumble.com and search up Chandler Crump. It's real easy. In fact, I'll show you guys just how to do it. You just go to rumble.com and then you'll see a page that looks like this. If you scroll to gaming, you might even see me down here. But if you just look up Chandler Crump, you should see my channel here. You'll see some videos of mine. You hit this right here, and you should see my channel with our live stream right here, and you'll see us live right here over on Rumble with Hip Hop Thinker already checking in. If you want to participate in the chat, you'll have to sign up, but you don't have to do anything like that. You could check us out without an account or anything. Just check us out over there on Rumble. I would appreciate you guys all doing that. And aside from that, shout out to the people we have watching us here on YouTube. I'll see you guys over on Rumble, but I will be ending the stream here on YouTube now. Catch you guys all over there. And we are out. So shout out to the people